Good evening. Tonight, I want to tell you about one of the Global Ecovillage Network's new initiatives to develop and implement a Pan-African Ecovillage Development Program. Our plans for this program offer essential opportunities for solving some of our most challenging global development problems and provide good solutions to a whole host of local challenges ranging from addressing water security, land degradation and deforestation, to a lack of access to electricity, basic sanitation, and a loss of agricultural productivity. These plans are perhaps as ambitious as any that have been made to date. This Ecovillage Development Program will feature some of the most exciting and essential development projects and activities that are being pioneered in Ecovillage communities in both Africa and around the world. For example, in the Gambia, people from GEN, the Global Ecovillage Network, have built the Sandalay Eco Retreat and developed the People's Coast Ecovillage Network, including and training people from 11 local villages in various development processes. The Sandalay Eco Retreat was built entirely with compressed earth blocks, a construction method developed and pioneered by the Oroville Earth Institute at Oroville Ecovillage in India, which has trained more than 10,000 people from 79 countries in this building process and which holds the UNESCO Chair on Earth and Architecture. Using these compressed earth blocks is 4 times as energy efficient as using cement or fired bricks, uses all local materials, and avoids the ecological impacts that came from making and using just plain cement. After building the retreat center, a construction company was formed hiring local people that has built numerous exquisitely beautiful community buildings in the local area using this same earth block construction technology. Then, in Egypt, the second farm and ecovillage was created some 40 years ago at the edge of the desert near Cairo. Using biodynamic farming practices and water pumped up from deep underground, they have regreened the natural environment into a paradise farm stretching for thousands of hectares, producing organic and natural pharmaceuticals and teas that are sold throughout Europe, and in the process employing hundreds of local villagers. They grow, process, and produce clothing from organically certified cotton, grown now by more than 800 local farmers after SECOM trained them and led the way. SECOM also runs a number of schools, vocational education programs, and even a university focusing on sustainable development education. Their health center at the Ecovillage treats more than 40,000 local villagers each year using holistic health methodologies. Now SECOM is working with GEN and the German government to establish a number of lighthouse ecovillage projects in other parts of Africa to replicate and scale up what they have done at SECOM in Egypt. Building off of the work of some 45 villages in Senegal that have striven to become ecovillages through GEN Senegal, and the 13 villages that undertook similar efforts funded by the UN Small Grants Program, Senegal itself has established the first national ecovillage agency in the world and is undertaking to assist 14,000 villages to transition into ecovillage communities. In Zambia, Zimbabwe, and other South Central African countries, Rescope and the Zimbabwe Permaculture Institute have worked with more than 200 schools to regenerate the natural landscape on school grounds and plant vegetable gardens and agroforestry trees, thus teaching the students how to care for the land and adopt more sustainable farming and reforestation practices while reversing desertification and creating climate resiliency. Then, in both Cameroon and Tanzania, a number of ecovillage communities have also pioneered a whole range of climate mitigation and adaptation activities, boosting agricultural productivity, providing good jobs, doing water harvesting, and creating water retention landscapes. And in Zanzibar, they have carried out major agroforestry projects and reforestation efforts. These are the types of programs and initiatives that will be featured as a part of the Pan-African Ecovillage Development Program. But before you tell you anything more about this program, I want to put this all in context. Last September, the world's governments adopted the most ambitious plan for transitioning to a sustainable world that has ever been made to date. They agreed on the UN 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, along with 169 targets and now an accompanying set of global indicators. Our governments agreed that this was a universal agreement and that all countries were to take proactive measures to meet these SDGs by 2030. Already, 22 countries reported in July at the High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development the progress that they have made to date. And once again, the plans and activities that they reported on and put forth were quite ambitious in nature as well. There is, however, one problem with all of this. The same one exists with the climate summit processes. So far, the amount of financing needed to achieve the SDGs has not been forthcoming. The programs and initiatives that will be required to meet such ambitious goals have either not yet been developed nor put in place, and the global challenges that we face appear to be almost insurmountable, given the extent to which humanity is currently living in a rather unsustainable manner on planet Earth and is even exceeding the Earth's natural carrying capacity. Fortunately, however, there are many actors and stakeholders that are pioneering innovative programs, projects, and initiatives that, if they can be scaled up and replicated, would make an enormous difference and take us much closer to achieving the SDGs. One of these initiatives, along with their various activities and extensive solutions, is being carried out by the Global Ecovillage Network, a network that includes somewhat more than 10,000 Ecovillage communities and that can be found in more than 110 countries around the Earth. These Ecovillage communities are likely some of the most sustainable communities on Earth. They typically depend on renewable energy, grow much of our own food organically, have built natural and green buildings, eat a healthy, primarily plant-based diet, focus on restoring the natural environment and living in harmony with nature, are doing many of the most essential things needed to address climate change, preserve and respect cultural practices, are living cooperatively and supportively together, and have developed a community-based approach to development and community living or life. In short, we address most of the SDGs and in a fully integrative and cohesive manner, and are taking major efforts to help achieve them. Most of these communities have taken and use a fully integrated approach to development, having studied and offer permaculture courses and workshops. Many of the people living in these ecovillages are the new pioneers who have developed innovative means to restore natural, small and large-scale water cycles, practice agroforestry, create and use biochar and compost tea to sequester large amount of carbons in plants and soils, and create resilient communities using regenerative agricultural practices. If you want to know more about what is being done in these ecovillages, it is easy enough to visit them and see what is being done all around the world. However, in addition, there are various ways that one can read about them on the web. The summer edition of Communities magazine already focuses specifically on and features Ecovillage communities. Quite a number of books have been written about them. We publish a quarterly newsletter full of stories about them, and I put together the content for a web section for the Paris Climate Summit, or COP21, which lays out many of the success stories and best practices being carried out in Ecovillage communities that could go a long ways towards solving our primary global problems if they were scaled up and replicated. You can find the resources I just mentioned and read about our success stories on the GEN website at www.ecovillage.org/node/5998. Again, that's www.ecovillage.org/node/5998. We have been putting together our effort to create the Pan-African Ecovillage Development Program specifically with these types of things and solutions in mind. The program will be based on the successes of quite a number of Ecovillage projects that have been developed and implemented for years in various countries throughout Africa as well as around the world. We are planning to develop regional hubs, or what we are calling resource and service centers, at these various ecovillages, which will provide examples of the best development work and projects that are being implemented, along with training programs to assist the participants or training in carrying out their own development projects in their own communities. In collaboration with our sister organization, Gaia Education, Jen has developed an Ecovillage design education curriculum and training programs that have been taught in more than 40 countries around the world, including at a number of our Ecovillage communities in Africa. These courses include hands-on development projects and teach whatever is needed to implement a full-on Ecovillage development project, starting with permaculture and going on to include agroecology and agroforestry, earth restoration, natural building processes, renewable energy systems, biological waste treatment, water harvesting, cooperative decision-making, and on and on. Ecovillage development consultants will also provide expert advice and assistance to any community that really needs it. Our hope and intention is to develop a program that can be carried out and implemented, replicated and scaled up in quite a number of countries throughout Africa and then in time around the world. It is an ambitious project, but one that depends on successful initiatives that have already achieved demonstrated results by ecovillages and other communities around the world. This Pan-African Ecovillage development program gives hope that the best solutions can now be shared and adopted by the hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people who still need them. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Good night.